Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm actually going to share something deeply personal with you guys about my 20-year journey with cluster headaches. I'm currently, hopefully, on the end of a cycle, and I wanted to share how I cope with these excruciating headaches and hope that some of these tips might help you as well if you do suffer from cluster headaches. These attacks are brutal. I want to tell you what they feel like, what the science says, and most importantly, like the tips I use to survive them. Let's start with cluster headaches. But these headaches are very unique and they're sometimes called suicide headaches because people do commit suicide that have these headaches because the pain is so intense. The attacks come on suddenly, like out of the blue. It's usually one-sided and it starts behind the eye or the back of the head. So the occipital nerve back here or the trigeminal nerve. And the trigeminal nerve runs into the face and it's the nerve that causes face pain. And they can last from 15 minutes up to 3 hours. Very, very rarely do they last all day. When I do have a migraine that lasts all day, it is typically hormonal. So I do know when I have those. And I know more traditional migraines, they typically last all day. They get the auras, the nausea, that type of thing. I don't get those symptoms like others. And my heart goes out to people that get those type of headaches too, migraines, because again, people, if you don't have migraines, you don't understand how debilitating they are. So here's the thing about clusters. You can get them like 8 times a day. And they're at the same time every day. And oftentimes they wake you up in sleep. So for example, this cluster that I'm having right now started in early March. And they would wake me up at night. So they would wake me up at 11 p.m. and then every 2 hours after that. And again, they would last 15, 20 minutes and then I'd fall back asleep. And then again, in an hour and a half or whatever, I'd wake up again with another one. And again, they do come on very suddenly and the intensity is rated up there with childbirth, labor. So the intensity of the pain is excruciating. So why do some of us get clusters? They don't really know. There's not a lot of research on these headaches because they are very rare. About 1 in 500 people get these, and they're mostly in men. Got the short end of the stick on that one. So what they found out is that the hypothalamus kind of goes haywire, and that controls your body clock. Like circadian rhythms in your body. And during these attacks, it triggers the trigeminal nerve. So this is the nerve right here that goes into the face, causing that intense pain. And it took me years to figure out what I had. I know I had them in high school because I would always feel like this pressure, because it goes into the jaw, it goes into behind the eye, and like I would crack my neck and try to get rid of that tension, not knowing what they were. And I think when you're younger, for me personally, like I just maybe just ignored it or it wasn't as intense because I think your body's a little more resilient as you're younger. So, but as I got older, I was like, I thought I had a toothache sometimes. I didn't know what they were. And then I started doing some research, and then this was pre-internet. So, you just didn't have the ability to find the information that you were looking for. And luckily we do now, we can find more information a lot easier. And again, not a lot of research. So doctors don't really know what these are. Like I go to the doctor and they're saying, hey, I have these migraines. And they're like, well, and it's not like they just don't know about it because they're not a headache specialist. So finding the care that you need is hard as well. So here's what I've learned after decades of trial and error. And hopefully some of this is my survival kit. So they have found that high doses of melatonin help because apparently people that get these headaches aren't producing enough melatonin to regulate your circadian rhythm. So a high dose of melatonin has worked. And this cycle, I have been taking 15 milligrams to 20 milligrams. And as soon as I started taking 15 milligrams, I started sleeping through the night. Well, primarily sleeping through the night. Might wake up once in early morning with a headache. So melatonin certainly helped me. So high dose. I like the Nature's Answer melatonin. You can get the links to this stuff in the description. It has lavender, chamomile, and passion flower as well. So it helps with sleep. So again, anything that's going to help regulate your circadian rhythms, your body clock should help. And just know that around the full moon, which was last night when I filmed this, your body produces less melatonin when it's a full moon. So you might want to take a little extra melatonin if you're in a cluster cycle. So that's what the research is showing. 10 to 20 milligrams helps a lot of people. And I can say that it has helped me. The second thing, and this is what I've been using for years, are massage balls. So I use massage balls and apply pressure to the occipital area and the other points that I'm feeling that pulsing. So typically, I would say more than 50% of the time, if I can catch that pain before it gets too intense. So these are the massage balls. Check out this video if you want to see how I do this. This is the technique that I use to help with stopping that pain. So I will lie down and put pressure points on those pulsing points. And initially it might be more intense, but then it starts to fade. It almost like cuts off the blood flow or cuts off that nerve stimulation, whatever it is doing. That applying pressure, and like from the eye, I'll use like a single one and just apply pressure. This can be super, super intense at first. So just real light pressure is probably all you're going to need as you just hold there. And if you hold there, a lot of times in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it will go away. So the massage balls have helped tremendously. And I know with clusters, people get fidgety and they can't sit still. And you feel that flush of heat and almost like you're having a panic attack. Like you just need to move. You start shaking. Applying this pressure should help dull that pain. So I find that if I do the balls, a lot of times it does help. And I feel like I'm in the end of the cycle. And so I actually used these 3 times last night. But I was able to knock out that headache within 10 minutes probably. They're portable, they're easy, it's accessible and not super expensive. And this is the technique that is tried and true for me, and that has helped quite a bit. I do also take Excedrin migraine. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it can help with that lingering tension. So, use it if it helps, right? Ice packs is another go-to for me. Again, a weighted ice pack works best for me. So it basically just numbs the side of my head and helps that headache go away. And if I use a combination of the balls, then the ice pack, it actually seems to help faster. I keep 2 of these like weighted rice packs because you're going to need multiple ones because they come on so frequently. I've had this for years. It's heavy. And my mom got it for me. I have no idea where she got it, but it stays cool, not too cold, because something too cold will make it worse. So you want something cold, but not too cold. I keep it in the freezer, and then I lay it on my head, and it's weighted, so it's probably a couple pounds. And I was trying to find another one, and it was so hard to find one that was heavy enough, but I finally found one on Amazon. And this uses sand or something in it. And it's 4 pounds. And it's a little pricey though, which I wasn't real keen on that, but it works because the heaviness helps apply pressure and that perfect coldness to help get rid and abort the attack. Another thing I tried using this time around was CBD. So I use the Cornbread brand. It's organic, and I'm using 50 milligrams for sleep and 25 milligrams during the day if needed. Also using Charlotte's Web CBD cream, which is really great. So I'll put that on my neck and try to rub it into the head points. Now, here's something I tried because the research says that oxygen helps, that can abort an attack, pure oxygen. And so I bought some on Amazon. It's called Boost Oxygen. I think it helped, but I'm not sure. Like, it's only 3 minutes of oxygen per can, and 2 cans are like $30. So, can be expensive real fast because you're going to go through a can with every headache. Now, you can get a prescription from your doctor to get an oxygen tank, and that's supposed to be, high flow oxygen, and it's supposed to abort the attack within 15 minutes. So if, again, I feel like the things that work are not accessible to many people. There are cost restrictions. You have to go to the doctor and get a prescription for an oxygen tank, plus you got to pay for the oxygen tank. Like the medication for the injections of the prescription medication that's supposed to help this, the injections are like over $800 a month. There's also vagus nerve stimulators that, again, with a prescription, and you had to refill it, which is ridiculous to me because it's an electronic device. Like, just make it rechargeable. I don't understand this, why it's over $600 for an advice like this. So again, it's not accessible to many people because the costs are so prohibitive. One thing I think might be a connection is blood sugar spikes and dips, because these headaches come like clockwork. So it, like, at the same time every day. So that's, your blood sugar also does that. So your blood sugar spikes, then it drops. So I think I've made a connection that when your blood sugar starts to drop, so if it spikes too high and drops, then it can trigger a headache. I don't know if that's true. I just kind of like, hey, let's see if it helps. So I will have little snacks by my bed at night, like little bites of protein bar with some carbs and some protein, that could help. Take a couple bites to stabilize your blood sugar, because, and this is why I think there is a connection, is because I get shaky, which is a symptom of low blood sugar. And also, I have to pee frequently during these attacks. So I'm like peeing every time I have an attack. So that is a symptom of kind of diabetic symptom, like blood sugar issues that I may have. But my fasting blood sugar is great. My HA1C is great. I also will use the Ripple pea protein chocolate milk. So you can just take a swig at night and it can help stabilize your blood sugar. Other things I use as well are emotional freedom technique, or the tapping solution app. So getting my stress levels down is super important. I think stress is a huge trigger. I know this time around it was. I was in a stressful situation for a couple of weeks, and then boom, headaches came on. So I love the tapping. I love that. I think it's very helpful. I first started it when I had an episode of clusters, and I was like, I don't know about this. It seems silly, but I think it helps. And I'm still doing it to this day. So I've been doing this type of meditation for years. And they have specific releasing a headache meditations. So it's a guided meditation that I really, really like. Since these are connected to circadian rhythms, sleep hygiene is huge. So do all the things that you need to do to sleep better, like getting off your phone at night, the blue light activity, sticking to a regular sleep schedule. So all those things that all of us know that we should be doing to sleep better. And for me, luckily, I set my own schedule. So I just would not schedule early morning appointments. Unfortunately, I'm losing income when I do that, but I have to do what I have to do because I can't function when I have these in the morning, and I have to wake up every morning with a cluster headache. So, getting enough sleep, take naps, make sure you're making up that sleep deprivation since they are waking you up at night. And then, minimize triggers. Avoid alcohol. Alcohol's a trigger for me. Excess sugar. Again, not sleeping well, stress, neck tension. So keeping that neck tension away. And again, check out this video if you have a lot of neck tension, to keep that neck tension at bay, because that tension just creeps up and goes into the head. Congestion and allergies are a trigger for me. So if I get too congested, then, boom, headache. So, taking your allergy medication, your allergy shots, whatever you need to do to make sure you're not getting congested, essential oils, nasal sprays, Mucinex, all the things. So whatever you need to do so you're not congested, so it won't trigger a headache, do it. And then I use acupuncture and massage. Again, getting the tension out of the body. Acupuncture is tremendously helpful because they can really get to those points that are those trigger points, and relieving tension in the rest of the body. It can also help us sleep and everything, basically. So those are my main tips. I often have to cut back on exercise, hard workouts, because again, I don't want to get sore. I don't want to trigger any more tension in my body. So just take it real easy, do more stretching, more yoga, anything for stress reduction. And then I try to keep notes. Honestly, I've been trying to keep notes when I have these episodes, and to see the connections, right? Okay, most of the time, mine's in the fall, right? They say clusters are seasonal, primarily in spring or fall. Most of the time, I get mine in the fall, along with I'm probably having too much sugar or alcohol, and the weather changes. So when, these headaches are directly connected to environmental changes. So just be conscious of that. So I mentioned the Gamma Core. It's an nVNS device. So that's a vagus nerve stimulator. I think that's what it stands for. And again, you got to have a prescription for that. Gamma Core also makes Truvaga, and that is a non-prescription device, but Gamma Core is patented. They have done the research on and is made specifically for cluster headaches. And so again, got to go to the doctor, got to get a prescription, and then you got to pay for over, I don't know if insurance covers it or not, but probably not. And it's pricey. And then you have to get the refills, which I think is such bullshit. I mean, come on. So there are other VNS devices out there that are cheaper. I don't know if they work. I haven't tried them yet, but I'm going to try a tuning fork at 40 hertz, which is the same hertz as the Gamma Core, and that would stimulate the vagus nerve. So the Gamma Core you put to your neck, and it stimulates the vagus nerve and helps calm down that vagus nerve, and it's supposed to help tremendously for cluster headaches. And they have this, and I mentioned again, a newer prescription. I don't know how to pronounce this. So this word, however you pronounce, it's a once a month shot. And again, it's pretty pricey. So, if you can afford it and have access to it and it helps you, do it, right? Do what you have to do. So just some final thoughts on cluster headaches. So they are debilitating, they're relentless, but just know that they're not going to last forever. And so getting the right support, lifestyle changes, and your toolkit, you can get through the worst of these cycles. And I'm saying this to myself right now. And I'd love to hear other people's tips for surviving cluster headaches, because I think as a community, we should be sharing these things. Leave them in the comment. Let's help each other out, because it's hard to find information on these headaches that are helpful. I've found some support groups, but again, they're kind of weird. Like they're not giving out advice as much as you think they would. So leave your tips and tricks. I'd love to know. And again, hopefully this has helped you. And I know this is an unusual video for me. I do not share personal things often, and this is something that has been I've been suffering from for a long time. And thank you for watching. Thank you for your support, and know that you're not alone and you'll get through this.